Dude, well, that was unexpected.
But freaking awesome.
Guys, you do realize this will most definitely come back to us. You don't flip some kid's Ford Taurus on its roof and expect the gossip hounds to heal. Aaron, always the extinguisher of topics, broke the momentary silence with a call for shots. And of course we bit. Might as well introduce myself. The teller and yes, experiencer of all I am yet to tell. Currently, I'm hosting this fine underage get-together. The high school year had gathered some steam, placing us square in the month of October. And for my crew, we were, well, happy to not be freshmen any longer. Our night eventually came to a close as expected. A tussle, a broken pool stick, or the classic and most common, the elbow-nudged beer spill on the carpet. Chris and Nick, the usual suspects of crashing in my basement, were no different tonight. Rather risking a return home for a potential dress down of the ins and outs of teenage drinking. They 9 times out 10 opted for the pull-out and club chair. My parents' basement had seen a lot. The launching and ending point through the years. I suppose it being a finished, rather spacious walkout basement with multiple exits had a lot to do with it. As well as the pool table and lax restrictions placed upon me by my parents also did not hurt. While I rummaged around looking for empties, Chris and Nick gathered their trusty comforters still stowed away from their last use. Well, guys, I think I've covered it. Nick, you'll take these when you leave in the morning. Pointing to the black hefty garbage bag full of Coors Light.
You know it. You host, I remove.
Before I could make my way to the stairs, Chris murmured out.
Hey man, I've got a thought for next weekend.
I half-heartedly respond. What's that, Chris?
My older brother Mike and his friends the other day brought up this place they plan on exploring. Maybe for a clearing party, I don't know. The Keck House. It's next door in Webster, the town over. So this place, he said, the Keck House, is a sprawling, big abandoned farmhouse, a relic of a bygone era. And well, it has this crazy history attached to it.
Beginning to feel intrigued, I take my foot off the steps and lumber down onto a chair.
So man, the only sign this place exists is this long, winding, secluded dirt path surrounded completely by woods. Cool, right? It gets better. So this one single path leads to the house. Supposedly in its heyday, my brother said, during the 1970s or 80s, this house, the Keck House, owned by a man Jacob. You guessed it, Keck. So he's this super charismatic but yet ruthless guy with the obsession for fast horses and fast money. From what my brother's friends gathered, he operated an illegal horse racing circuit, drawing in crowds from all corners of the state. So, the thrill of the races, the roar of and the clinking of cash eventually brought about these unsavory characters, including those with ties to organized crime.
What, Italian mobster types?
Exactly, man. So, Keck, blinded by greed, played recklessly. All wrong. I mean, the guy's a farmer. So the rumors claim that in the summer of 1988, Keck's luck ran out. Man, big time.
I perk up in my seat, then glance over to Nick, who also was attentively listening.
So, dude, accusations arose that this guy Keck had been skimming from the race winnings, apparently a cardinal sin in that world. Well, a cardinal sin in any world. So my brother said that Andy the Ice Pick Colombo, that notorious mob boss known for those string of brutal murders, came to, collect.
I continue attentively listening while thinking, man, this guy did his homework.
So, dude, this confrontation was freaking brutal and merciless.
Nick chimes in.
Wait, this all happened in Webster?
You dude, it did. So Keck, his wife, and their freaking 5 children were brutally murdered, and their bodies supposedly are buried somewhere on that vast property. But despite searches over the years, no trace of their remains have ever been found.
Dude, that's fucked up, man.
Yeah, I know, right? So this Keck house was never put up for sale. And it remained in this state of, preservation. That's it. It was as if time itself just stopped there, man. But here's the thing. According to my brother, bizarrely, the electricity continued to still work. Powering the lights, everything, man.
Who's paying the power bill? Chris gives me a shrug.
So gentlemen, over the years, this Keck house became a magnet for thrill seekers. Teenagers mainly, dude. It's cool, right? I suppose the rumors of mob killings and the house's sinister aura just dares people to venture out there, hoping to catch a glimpse of, well, something. But, my friends, yes, but a pattern emerged. See those who dare to cross the threshold and into the Keck house were well never seen again.
I take a gulp. And Chris, why would you want us to go there? My voice trails off.
Adventure, my dear friend.
I give a peculiar squint. Crazy story, Chris. Thanks for the impending nightmares, I muttered, already feeling a chill despite the familiar comfort of my own house. The image of the Keck house, as he'd described it, lingered uncomfortably in my mind. I trudged upstairs to my bedroom that night, the unsettling details of his story replaying like a broken record. The following school week unfolded with its usual monotony of classes, homework, and awkward hallway encounters. Yet Chris's eerie narrative hung over me, an invisible weight tugging at me, even in the most mundane moments. I found myself drawn to the mystery. A strange blend of apprehension and fascination swirled within me. The idea that the thrill of adventure would somehow compensate for potential trauma still felt like a shaky justification, but the allure of the unknown had taken root. It was the Wednesday afternoon lull after study hall, the chaotic energy of the school commons having momentarily subsided. I was hunched over a stubbornly dry bagel in our usual corner booth, attempting to extract some semblance of flavor, when Chris and Nick suddenly materialized across from me. As their expectant gazes locked onto mine. My attention, initially focused on the disappointing texture of my half-eaten snack, slowly migrated upwards, a silent question forming in my eyes. I know that look, Chris, a reluctant smile tugging at the corner of my lips. His signature blend of mischievous excitement and unwavering conviction was unmistakable. Nick, you're in on this too? I directed my question towards him, whose wide-eyed enthusiasm usually served as a reliable barometer of Chris's more outlandish schemes. Nick's head bobbed with an almost frantic affirmation, his eagerness practically radiating across the table.
So,
Chris began, leaning forward with an air of clandestine importance.
I've been doing some serious reconnaissance and logistical prep for this whole Keck house expedition. It's fast approaching, you know?
So this is really happening. A genuine mix of disbelief and burgeoning anticipation coloring my tone.
Yeah, man.
Nick chimed in, his voice a breathless blend of excitement and nervous energy.
And Chris and I have been meticulously gathering essential provisions.
Provisions? I repeated, my eyes narrowing. The term sounded far too official for whatever harebrained scheme they were concocting.
Yeah, dude, go bags and all that survivalist stuff.
Chris elaborated, injecting a touch of dramatic flair into his explanation.
So far, our inventory includes a robust collection of 3 flashlights, supplemented by 2 reasonably reliable backups for unforeseen power failures. We've also secured a substantial cache of extra C batteries to ensure prolonged illumination in the face of the unknown. And
he paused, his eyes gleaming with a hint of danger.
My dad's prized buck knife.
Buck knife? My eyebrows shooting north.
Yeah, dude. It's a crucial precaution.
As if fending off ghosts was a matter of basic preparedness. I offered a slight, hesitant nod, a silent acknowledgement that I probably didn't want to know the specifics. Okay, I conceded reluctantly, gesturing for him to continue his inventory.
Right, moving on to less lethal supplies.
A mischievous glint returning to his eyes.
We've got a decent assortment of non-perishable snacks to sustain us through the night. A sturdy water thermos to ward off dehydration amidst the exploration, a pair of durable gloves for gripping things, I guess. And
he paused, a triumphant grin spreading across his face.
Nick's much-coveted grappling hook from last summer's ill-fated ninja phase.
Oh yeah, a wave of amusement washing over me. The whole becoming a Ninja Turtle phase, complete with the clandestine ninja suit and the questionable karate gear ordered via your dad's purloined credit card. Didn't that result in, like, a month of grounding? Nick offered a guilty, rapid nod, his earlier enthusiasm momentarily eclipsed by the painful recollection of parental wrath. Well, I conceded, a chuckle escaping my lips. I'm still not entirely sure where a grappling hook fits into all this, but Nick definitely paid his dues for that purchase. Might as well put it to some questionable use in the pursuit of extracurricular activities.
That's the spirit, my friend.
Chris exclaimed, clapping me a little too enthusiastically on the shoulder.
So, rounding out our essential gear, we've got a haphazard collection of other random packed stuff not really worth itemizing. And lastly,
He paused again, clearly saving the most exciting item for the grand finale.
4 glorious M80s and my trusty pellet gun, the Crosman handgun that proved so effective in liberating those stubbornly intact windows at the community center last year.
A wide grin finally broke across my face. I'll admit, I chuckled, shaking my head. That was remarkably fun, albeit incredibly stupid in retrospect. I'm honestly shocked your parents still allow you to possess such a recreational tool. Chris offered a sly half-smile, a knowing look in his eyes.
Let's just say my dad possesses a remarkable talent for not being able to hide things.
My brow lifted further, a potent cocktail of intrigue and apprehension swirling within me. This wasn't just an after-school special. This was shaping up to be a meticulously, if somewhat irresponsibly, planned expedition into the unknown, spearheaded by 2 of the most unpredictable individuals I knew. And somehow, despite my reservations, I had gotten swept along for the ride. The dismissal bell sliced through the afternoon air, finally releasing us from the academic confines of the day. Chris and Nick practically vibrated with pent-up energy, their days earlier lunchtime planning session having clearly mainlined their collective anticipation. Backpacks were slung over shoulders with an almost aggressive enthusiasm, and their eyes held a shared, conspiratorial gleam that spoke volumes about their eagerness for tonight's clandestine adventure. Despite my lingering reservations, a sliver of that excitement had begun to take root within me as well, a curiosity wrapping itself around my more sensible instincts. The dial-up internet at home would have to wait. Real-world mystery beckoned.
So,
Chris reiterated, adjusting the strap of his JanSport backpack, a subtle undercurrent of impatience in his voice.
tonight it is then? Once the parental units are convinced you're lost in the comforting static of late-night MTV?
He punctuated his question with a knowing smirk, fully aware of the delicate art of teenage subterfuge. A sigh escaped my lips, a manifestation of the internal battle still raging within me. Tonight, I confirmed, the words feeling heavier than they should. That's cutting it awfully close to the weekend. Any potential encounters will seriously impact my Saturday morning cartoon viewing schedule. Nick, ever the more outwardly enthusiastic of the duo, bounced on the balls of his LA Gear sneakers, his eagerness bordering on kinetic.
But think of the bragging rights, man. We'll be legends. The trio who braved Keck House, it'll be way more epic than cartoons. Plus, imagine the potential for, telling people about it. It'll be way cooler than that time Mike said he had dinner with Cindy Crawford.
I shake my head. Why in God's name do people believe that story? Mikey Poopy Pants did not go to dinner with Cindy Crawford. That's a fact.
I don't know, man. He was pretty convincing.
Nick had inadvertently touched upon a teenage truth that even my apprehensive soul couldn't entirely dismiss. And for Lucky Mike and his gloating fake dinner date with Cindy Crawford, I never bought it. One day, I'll prove it. But this adventure, well, I hoped it drowned out Mikey's ongoing bragging. In our world, a truly wild story, recounted with the right level of dramatic flair, held significant social capital. All right, I conceded, holding up a hand to stem their rising tide of excitement. As we prepared to take on the unknown, I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, the thrill of the unknown beckoning us deeper into the legend of Keck House. How exactly do we plan on gaining entry to this Keck House? Are we anticipating a welcoming committee of cobwebs and creaking doors? Chris and Nick exchanged a look that spoke of carefully laid plans and perhaps a touch of gleeful mischief.
Fear not, my skeptical friend, for it is in this very backpack that the key to our nocturnal ingress resides. Let's just say Nick's impulsive foray into the world of mail-order martial arts might finally yield a return on investment beyond a month-long grounding.
He offered a pointed wink in Nick's direction.
That second-story window at the rear of the property appears to have suffered a regrettable lack of structural integrity. A well-aimed grappling hook coupled with a bit of nimble climbing should grant us access.
My eyebrows shot skyward. You've actually been to the house already? Without me? Assholes. A pang of being excluded, however irrational, flickered within me. Nick, momentarily abashed, mumbled,
Just a quick preliminary assessment of the architectural vulnerabilities.
He puffed out his chest again, regaining his earlier bravado.
Thorough preparation is paramount for any successful adventure.
Adventure involving breaking and entering, I muttered under my breath. Now, about those auditory deterrents, I continued, my voice laced with a healthy dose of suspicion. The M80s. I need a clearer understanding of their intended application beyond scaring off overly amorous squirrels. Chris adopted a more serious demeanor, though a mischievous glint still danced in his eyes.
Their deployment is strictly reserved for situations of extreme duress. Should we encounter any unforeseen problems with hostile tendencies, a sudden, loud, percussive blast might provide the necessary psychological advantage.
Psychological advantage over ghosts? I questioned incredulously. Do you honestly think a spectral being is going to be deterred by a firecracker?
You never know. Maybe they're sensitive to loud noises. Plus, it might disorient them, allowing for a quick escape.
Auditory deterrence will be deployed judiciously and with the utmost discretion.
Look, I'm agreeing to this, but with caveats.
Understood. We prioritize the safety and well-being of all expedition members, while simultaneously embracing the thrill of the unknown.
If the structural integrity of this invitingly unsecured window looks anything less than marginally stable, we abort. If we encounter any signs of actual danger, we abort. And if at any point my gut screams run, we run. No heroic last stands.
Adventure with a healthy dose of self-preservation.
My word as a future expedition team member.
The night's plan, hatched over countless whispered phone calls and hurried lunch breaks, was finally unfolding. Chris, Nick, and I, fueled by equal parts teenage bravado and a healthy dose of the unknown, were embarking on our after-hours expedition to the Keck house. Chris, ever the reliable and slightly overzealous friend, had insisted on handling transportation in his trusty, 2-year-old 1994 white Nissan Pathfinder. Our target pickup time was a carefully calculated 11 p.m., a sweet spot we figured would give our respective parents ample time to drift into the land of slumber, typically around the 9:30 to 10 o'clock mark. The rumble of Chris's Pathfinder pulling up to Nick's curb was the first tangible sign that our clandestine operation was underway. Nick, a master of stealth in his own home, materialized from the shadows of his porch and slipped into the back seat with practiced ease. My own departure was a touch more precarious, involving a strategic descent down the back steps, each creak of the aged wood threatening to betray my escape. Thankfully, I reached the relative safety of the sidewalk without incident, and soon we were all crammed into the Pathfinder, the air thick with a mixture of nervous excitement and the faint scent of old French fries. The drive to the neighboring town felt strangely protracted, the familiar suburban landscape taking on an eerie quality in the darkness. Conversation was minimal, our usual teenage banter replaced by hushed whispers and the rhythmic hum of the tires on the asphalt. Chris, despite his initial enthusiasm, seemed a little unsure of the exact location, leading to a couple of hesitant U-turns and some low-key bickering between him and Nick about directions. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the headlights illuminated a barely discernible dirt path, veering sharply off the main road and disappearing into the dense, inky blackness of the woods. An unspoken agreement settled over us. This was it. With our cheap but functional flashlights casting shaky beams ahead, we began our trek into the shadowy embrace of the forest. The three of us walked in a tight formation, the silence broken only by the crunching of leaves and twigs under our sneakers, and the occasional nervous joke that fell a little flat in the oppressive darkness.
Ready, wait for it. Why do cows wear bells? Because their horns don't work.
The trees loomed around us like silent sentinels, their branches skeletal against the sliver of moon visible through the canopy. After what felt like a significant distance, the dense foliage abruptly parted, revealing a breathtaking sight. We stepped out into a vast clearing, the deep woods forming a dark, imposing perimeter around us. Bathed in the faint moonlight, the structure before us was far more imposing than any farmhouse. It was grand. My jaw literally dropped. "Hey, Chris," I stammered. "I thought this was just a big farmhouse." Hadn't he and Nick supposedly scouted this place out beforehand? Chris offered a sheepish shrug, avoiding my gaze as he nudged Nick with his elbow.
Dude, we just made all that up so that you'd be more inclined to come. Pretty convincing. Well, dude, it worked, right?
Nick confessed, a slight grin spreading across his face.
Jesus, guys, maybe we should have done a bit of reconnaissance. This place is a freaking mansion, like straight out of the 1920s.
I shook my head, my flashlight beam sweeping across the intricate details of the imposing facade. "No, man. It's not a mansion. It's a manor," I corrected, pointing to the ornate wrought iron gate that stood slightly ajar. Wrought into the metal in elegant, swirling letters were the words, "Keck Manor House." A collective silence descended upon us, a mixture of awe and a dawning realization that Chris's intel, courtesy of his unreliable older brother, was spectacularly off.
Yeah, I concede my brother's info wasn't exactly on point. Well, not anywhere close. Shit.
Chris mumbled, scratching the back of his neck. Despite the unexpected grandeur, we pressed on. Nick, ever the resourceful one, pulled out the length of rope with a weighted hook he dubbed his ninja grappling hook. Our initial plan, vague at best, had involved somehow scaling a wall, but the sheer size of the manor made that seem ludicrous. Instead, with the massive main doors stubbornly refusing to yield, Nick took a different approach. After a couple of clumsy throws, the hook snagged onto something solid above the ornate doorframe. With a determined grunt, he pulled. A deafening screech of protesting metal echoed through the clearing as one of the double doors shuddered and then swung inward with surprising and sudden force. The momentum caught Nick off guard, sending him stumbling forward. Chris and I, standing right behind him, had no time to react. Like a poorly executed trust fall, the three of us tumbled headfirst into the inky blackness beyond the threshold, landing in a tangled heap on our butts just inside the silent, imposing Keck Manor. Only to be struck by something completely impossible. Brushing the clinging dust and stray leaves from our decidedly unmanor-appropriate attire, we three stood in a bewildered tableau just inside the grand entryway. Before any of us could stammer out a question about the ignominious manner of our arrival, a figure materialized from the shadowed depths of the hallway. He was an imposing presence, tall and unsettlingly gaunt, his bearing stiff and formal. The dark, impeccably tailored suit he wore seemed plucked straight from a black and white photograph, radiating an aura of old-world servitude.
Good evening, gentlemen. Your arrival has been most anticipated.
Anticipating? The word hung in the air, heavy with implications we couldn't begin to fathom.
I am Bernard, head steward of Keck Manor.
The man intoned, his voice a surprisingly deep and resonant baritone that seemed to echo in the vast space. His gaze swept over us, lingering for a moment on each of our faces.
I will be at your service throughout your stay here.
How could anyone here know who we were? Our clandestine expedition was supposed to be a secret, a thrill shared only amongst the three of us. The shock rendered us momentarily speechless, our teenage skepticism battling with a growing sense of the uncanny. We simply stood there, a trio of trespassers caught in a spotlight of unexpected hospitality. Bernard, unfazed by our stunned silence, continued in the same measured tone.
I can assure you that all preparations have been made according to your instructions. If you would be so kind as to proceed upstairs to the trellis suite, there you will find your requested attire, which has been laundered and pressed in-house according to your directives. Brandy and cigars will be served in the study in 1 hour. Your presence will be most appreciated indeed. And I do indeed speak for everyone here at Keck Manor. We are honored by your presence.
as if our appearance was a perfectly scheduled event. Requested attire? The absurdity of the situation escalated with each pronouncement. Had Chris's tall tale of a simple abandoned farmhouse somehow morphed into an elaborate, inexplicable reception? What kind of attire had we supposedly requested? Our current state of jeans and hoodies seemed woefully inadequate for whatever awaited us. Bernard added, his gaze unwavering. With another of those formal, almost robotic nods, he gestured with a long, slender hand towards the imposing dark wood staircase that loomed before us, the very same staircase we had just encountered in such an undignified manner. Chris, ever the pragmatist, seemed to shake off his initial surprise first. He cleared his throat, a nervous sound in the echoing hall.
Right, the trellis suite. Thank you.
Nick, his usual wisecracking demeanor replaced by a look of genuine bewilderment, merely shrugged, his eyes darting around the opulent foyer as if searching for hidden cameras or some logical explanation. He hesitantly followed Chris towards the stairs. My own feet felt like lead. My mind was a whirlwind of questions, each more perplexing than the last. What preparations had been made in this seemingly deserted mansion? And what was this talk of requested attire, pre-dinner drinks and cigars? This was no abandoned farmhouse. This was a meticulously maintained relic of a bygone era, and we had somehow stumbled into the middle of a very strange play. As we began our ascent, the aged wood groaning softly beneath our weight, a peculiar scent filled the air, a blend of dust and beeswax, overlaid with a delicate, almost ghostly floral fragrance. The thrill of exploration had been instantly replaced by an unsettling mystery, and our illicit adventure had taken a sharp, disorienting turn into the truly bizarre. We finally make our way to what appeared to be our quarters. Engraved on a brass placard on the door was Trellis Suite. I shake my head then. With a hesitant turn of the ornate knob, the three of us shuffled into the room, our faces pale under the soft lamplight, our stomachs churning with a knot of apprehension. The chamber held a grandeur that mirrored the foyer, yet possessed an intimacy that amplified our unease. My gaze was immediately drawn to the centerpiece, a majestic four-poster bed crafted from dark, elaborately carved wood. Its towering spiraled posts framed a haven of crisp white linens, plump pillows, and a luxurious gold-patterned throw that pooled at its foot. To our right, three imposing windows commanded the wall. And not your ordinary panes, but breathtaking displays of stained glass artistry. Heavy swags of brown velvet partially obscured the upper reaches of the windows. Between the window panels, ornate wall sconces emitted a gentle golden glow. And beneath a plush armchair upholstered in deep rose or burgundy velvet sat silent. Beside it, a small dark-topped round table holding a collection of what appeared to be antique glasses and barware. As we left the doorway and into the room, the walls revealed themselves to be adorned with a subtly patterned wallpaper in muted beiges. To the left of the grand bed, a framed painting held my attention. It depicted a stern-faced man in formal dress, and a unique light fixture hung suspended, its central brass form branching into three curved arms, supporting frosted glass globes that diffused a soft light. We moved through the space in a stunned silence, each of us grappling with the surreal turn our night had taken. The sense of 1920s luxury and detail pressed in on us, unnerving and utterly beyond our comprehension. What in God's name is happening, man? I shook my head, still reeling, and slowly made my way towards a heavy wooden door set into the wall. With a deep breath, I pulled it open, revealing a spacious closet. Inside, three high-waisted suits with wide lapels and cuffed trousers hung neatly, each accompanied by a matching fedora. It was Nick always the most eager to first don the attire in the closet. While putting on his suit jacket, he notices in his inside jacket pocket an ornate envelope inside.
Guys, what's this? Opening it, can't stop me. It's a letter to Arthur Kenji Tanaka? Okay, hold up. Let me read this, Arthur Kenji Tanaka. I'm not Japanese.
My dearest Mr. Tanaka, the lamps within Keck Manor house cast a warm glow, anticipating your arrival this very evening. We extend our most cordial welcome and trust that your journey from the bustling port city of Seattle, Washington was undertaken without undue hardship. Bearing in mind your distinguished Japanese-Irish heritage, our dedicated staff has taken particular pleasure in curating a selection of both culinary delights and refined beverages, a small gesture intended to honor the rich tapestry of your ancestry. Furthermore, we are delighted to confirm that in accordance with your thoughtful request, Mr. Kenzo Ishikawa has graciously accepted our summons and will be present to attend to this evening's arrangements. For each and every member of the Keck Manor family, it is with sincere pleasure that we say, welcome back. Yours in anticipation, Keck Manor House.
Nick, apparently you're Arthur Kenji Tanaka. Now, what the hell's going on here? Well, guys, you did say adventure awaits. Shit, man. I'm thinking guys were in over our heads, and in something we don't understand.
Well, I guess I'm up. Heads up, guys. If I am a traveling circus performer, that's it, I'm walking. Although, come to think of it, we don't really know what Nick is, other than his Japanese-Irish heritage.
Mr. Everett Francis Cook, within the shadowed elegance of Keck Manor, an assembly of individuals with shared curiosities will convene. The purpose of this gathering remains veiled, a deliberate intrigue intended to pique the interest of discerning minds such as your own. Be assured, Mr. Cook, that the discourse promises to be stimulating, the company unique, and the potential for unforeseen insights considerable. The master of the house anticipates your arrival with a certain degree of anticipation. He trusts that you will find the evening both enlightening and perhaps, in its own peculiar way, rewarding. A spirit of circumspection is naturally expected from all those who grace these halls. The matters discussed, the observations made, and the identities of those present are to remain strictly within the confines of Keck Manor. Such prudence, I am certain you will agree, is a cornerstone of civilized interaction, particularly when the currents of conversation may touch upon less conventional subjects. Consider this invitation a testament to your singular reputation. Your presence, Mr. Cook, is not merely desired. It is considered integral to the success of this rather unconventional affair. We await your arrival. Sincerely, the host.
But fine, I'll put the suit on too. Guys, I've got one too. Shit, okay, I'll read it. Here goes. Goddammit, Stanley Ray Turner. Off to an odd start.
Mr. Stanley Ray Turner, the very stones of Keck Manor seem to hold their breath in anticipation of your presence this evening. We trust your passage from Rochester, conveyed along the iron veins that crisscross this land, was devoid of unwelcome incident. The master of this estate, Sir Jacob Keck III, has expressed a singular fascination with the timepiece that has emerged from your skilled hands. Its long case stands as a silent sentinel, while the intricate dance of its freestanding pendulum, possessing features quite unlike any seen before, speaks volumes of an uncommon talent. It is imperative, Mr. Turner, that the tenets of our prior discreet accord remain firmly within the vaults of our mutual understanding. The proprietary techniques and singular methods that underpin your remarkable creation are a matter of utmost confidentiality, a shared secret that binds our endeavors. We extend our welcome once more, with the distinct expectation that your sojourn within these venerable walls will prove to be an engagement of reciprocal advantage, a silent exchange understood between discerning individuals. Keck Manor.
Shit, dude, I'm a freaking clockmaker. I thought I'd at least get something interesting like Railway Baron or Rum Runner. What am I saying? This is nuts. Are we involved in a murder mystery role play? But I knew that whatever it was, it must be much different. In what way, we did not know. But I had a feeling we'd soon come to find out. Each tick of the clock echoed the mystery we were about to unravel. sending shivers down my spine. Were the pieces of this puzzle more than just time-worn artifacts? The tension in the air was palpable, as I sensed that every second brought us closer to uncovering dark secrets lurking beneath the surface.